Hi there everybody, this is David, and today I want to talk about the job classes in Dragon Quest VII Reimagined. It's going to take you quite a bit of time to reach All Trades Abbey and actually, gain the ability to change your job classes, but once you do, you're going to be faced with one of the most important decisions in the entire game. And the choices that you make at that point are going to affect you for the next 100 or so hours easily. So I am here to make sure that, you don't screw that up. And I definitely do think that's worth the sub as you come and you join my party and you level on up with me. Thank you so much for your sub, your like, and your hype. It helps me out a ton. So now, let's go ahead and dive right on in to these basic job classes that you first get. Around the 15 or so hour mark, you'll finally gain access to All Trades Abbey. And at that point, you really have 3 characters to work with: the hero, Maribel, and Gabbo. Gabbo is one of your strongest characters in the game, and he naturally excels in melee-focused jobs. The hero is well-rounded and can comfortably lean into either physical or magical jobs, depending on, how you build him. Maribel, as you've probably already realized, is fairly fragile, and she really shines as a caster. So understanding those basic archetypes is going to help you out tremendously whenever you decide who gets what job. Generally speaking, you're going to want Gabbo focusing on physical classes, Maribel on magical ones, and then the hero somewhere in the middle. From the start, you're going to be having access to 10 basic job classes, and then over time, those basic jobs will branch into 7 intermediate jobs, and then finally 3 advanced jobs. So the system is built around synergy. Basic jobs will combine in specific ways to unlock the intermediate ones, and you'll want to be very deliberate about which jobs you master on each character. For example, if you master both the warrior and the martial artist jobs, which are obviously melee focused, they'll combine to unlock the gladiator job, and gladiator is a significant upgrade. Then, once you master those 3 intermediate jobs, you'll gain access to the hero class, which is the best job in the entire game. So, because of that, it really pays to know ahead of time which job combinations actually lead to somewhere useful, and which ones eventually will just lead to dead ends with no intermediate and no advanced jobs. So, first things first, let's go over the basic job combinations that lead to those intermediate jobs. The warrior and the martial artist together will combine to form the gladiator. The warrior and the mage will combine to form the armamentalist. The martial artist and the priest will combine to form the paladin, and the mage and priest together will combine to form the sage. So those 4 jobs synergize extremely well together, because just by mastering 4 basic jobs, the warrior, the martial artist, the mage, and the priest, you'll be able to unlock 4 intermediate jobs: the gladiator, the armamentalist, the paladin, and the sage. And that there is an excellent return on your investment. Now, there's also some other basic jobs that lead to more specialized intermediate classes. The sailor and the thief together will combine to form the pirate, while the thief and the shepherd combine to form the monster wrangler. Then there's a more unusual path. There's a luminary intermediate job, but in order to unlock that, you need to master 3 different basic jobs: the dancer, the troubadour, and the gadabout. Those jobs don't synergize with any other jobs though, so whoever you send down that path is going to be committed to it for a very long time. So that is something that you definitely want to keep in mind. Now, I'm not done yet. We've talked about the basic jobs and we've talked about the intermediate jobs, but there's also 3 advanced jobs out there. As I mentioned earlier, the hero class requires you to master 3 intermediate jobs, and the fastest way to actually get to hero if you want to do that is through warrior, martial artist, and priest. Just by those 3 basic job classes, you'll be able to unlock the gladiator, and then the paladin, and then the gladiator and paladin will combine together to form the champion. So then once that's mastered, you can then become a hero. That there is easily the quickest way. But there's other advanced job paths. Like if you master both the sage and the luminary intermediate classes, that would be the dancer, the troubadour, and the gadabout, as well as the mage and the priest. In order to get those, then those 2 intermediate jobs will combine together to form the druid. Then, once you master the druid, you'll also meet the requirement of having 3 intermediate jobs completed, allowing you to move on to the hero as well. So, at this point, I do hope that the job structure is starting to make sense, and I do have like a jobs tree on the screen here for you. The basic jobs will combine into intermediate jobs, and then the intermediate jobs will combine into more advanced jobs. So, because of that, it is very important that each character stays within their own job tree instead of like bouncing around randomly between unrelated classes. You don't want somebody mastering like dancer and then warrior and then, thief, for example, because it doesn't lead anywhere. It doesn't make any sense. So let's talk about our 3 characters. Mirabelle's actually pretty straightforward. She's essentially your dedicated caster, similar to, Aerith in another franchise. And since, healing magic is really important, I recommend starting her as a priest. Then after that, go ahead and move her into a mage, and then you'll eventually unlock Sage. Then from there, you can have her master Dancer, Troubadour, and Gadabout so that she can unlock Luminary, which gives her, the really nice hustle dance for some free healing. Then, once you have Sage and Luminary unlocked, you can combine those 2 together to grab Druid, and then eventually move her into Hero. So this path will give Mirabelle access to every single major healing and offensive spell in the entire game, along with the aforementioned Hustle Dance, which is like one of the best abilities ever. Now let's talk about Gabo. Unlike the hero and Mirabelle, Gabo starts with no healing magic in his basic job class at all. So while it might be tempting to also kind of send him down a more unconventional path like the Monster Wrangler, just because he's a guy riding on a wolf, Gabo is actually with you for the entire game, so you want him to be a reliable, durable tank to support the party. I recommend first starting him as a priest, so you have Mirabelle and Gabo both as a priest, so that he can pick up his basic healing spells. The more people who have healing, the better off you're going to be. After that, move him over into martial artist so that you can then work towards paladin. Then switch him over to warrior to unlock gladiator. Then once you've mastered the paladin and the gladiator, you can combine those into champion, and then you can move him into a hero. That will give you an extremely tanky, versatile frontline character who can still contribute to healing whenever needed. Thankfully, now our last character is the hero, and he starts with some built-in healing and buffing abilities, so putting him into priest would be kind of redundant. Instead, with him is really where you can afford to experiment a little bit more. You could, if you want to, mirror Gabo's path exactly, which is perfectly viable, but a little bit redundant if I do say so myself, and a little bit boring. Or you could use your protagonist to cover the more unconventional job paths that Mirabelle and Gabo aren't touching, such as the Sailor, the Thief, and the Shepherd, which would give you access to Pirate and Monster Wrangler, letting your party cover every single possible utility skill in the game. That route, though, would only give you access to 2 intermediate jobs, so you'd eventually need to pick up a 3rd intermediate class to unlock Hero. But again, he is your protagonist, and he's always in the party, so he's always with you, so you have plenty of time to figure that out. Ultimately, though, do not forget, what you do is up to you. Personally, I like covering all my bases rather than just kind of like steamrolling the game with nothing but paladins and gladiators. I just think that it makes the whole experience a little bit more interesting. But the main takeaway that y'all should have from this video is simple and extremely important. Each character should focus on related job classes that naturally combine into intermediate classes. That is the #1 thing that you need to understand about the system. You do not want to be wasting time bouncing your hero around from Shepherd to Martial Artist to Bard, only to realize 50 hours later, oh, none of these jobs actually synergized and I just wasted all my time. So I do hope that this video did help you out, and if it did, please consider leaving a sub, a like, and some hype. Helps me out a ton. I do hope that you're enjoying your time with Dragon Quest VII, and I hope that this will help you plan your route on through. As always, I am here to help. Take care, and have a great day.